opportunity to share a screen. Got to find my mouse first a second. Okay, let's see.
Think you're on, Pastor.
Okay. Let's see. I'll share that one. Oops. Can you just a second? You should see announcements May 30. No? Away in the multi-layers of the computer here. I'll try to excavate that one when it comes time. Well, welcome to May 30th, and welcome to church. I'd like to go over some announcements. A lot of this information is shared in the email newsletter and updates, but the first item is that we have been tracking is the status of the reopening of the church building and the LAC. So it's been the last few weeks, number of weeks, church leaders have been watching the news, and I'm sure you have too, figuring out, okay, when is the state of Oregon, Multnomah County, and the city of Portland going to have an opportunity to open the faith, well, they called it faith institutions, church. And so last week, or it might have been a week ago, more than that, the board requested a subcommittee, and it was really just an open forum to all church members who would be willing to work through this process and to review the criteria and to bring back suggestions to the church board in order to make decisions on how and when we can open again. And so each church in the Oregon Conference, I've been watching a few churches, and some are waiting, some are starting with the minimum of 25 participants and attendees. That 25 includes the people that are a part of the service as well as the people who are attending. And the target date for what we're looking at here is to reopen on June 13th. So in order for us to do that, then we have implementation teams from our discussions that are going through the documentation and communications. We have a number of things that we need to do to prepare the facilities. And then what about scheduling worship programming during this phase one? So we are looking at the church building to be ready first, because we have the UVC proponent of our HVAC system that helps reduce the infections and that type of thing. We have Lauren and team are working on having one to install in the LAC. So we're working on a letter, a printed letter, as well as an email communications going through all of that. But the important thing on item number one is to continue to pray. Continue to pray for God's leading in all of this. There's a lot of things to be aware of, mandates, requirements, guidelines. The whole purpose is to keep people as safe as possible. And so some people will choose to wait, and some people will choose to participate. And now we'll have to kind of figure out how to take turns with the 25 or less. So we're working through that. Connection teams, we talked about the teams, but also just individuals that are calling other members and people of our community and connecting with them, praying with them, checking in on them, seeing how they're doing. And we are relational people. And so it's hard to be separated from each other. It's hard not to be face to face. So the connection teams are continuing to be important. The praise and prayer requests I've been updating those like 3 or 4 times a week based on your input. And so we have 3 or 4 opportunities during the week to lift those prayer requests to the Lord and also praise him for what he has done. So the also the announcement for the PAX food distribution is an important thing. This is next Thursday is the first Thursday of the month of June already. It's June. And so from 4 to 6 o'clock, we will be distributing, we're partnering with PAX, and they are, we're working together to prepare boxes of food. And it's a pretty large box of quite a variety of food. And so all we have to do is record the name of the person who's picking up the box and the number of people in the household. So normally there's more information that has to be tracked based on your income that the Oregon Food Bank requires PAX to report on. So we were able to pass out 25 of the 27 boxes that were available in May, the first part of this month. And so we're planning to do that again. So if you, now I spelled a few things wrong, I can see. If you can use some help with food, come. Okay. If you know someone who could be blessed by this outreach, then tell them about it, and just help us to make this outreach as effective as possible. Let's see. Okay. Still running. I'm still learning how to drive this virtual reality, but stewardship. You should see on your screen 4 options, and I want to thank you for your faithful and consistent giving, even during this time that we're separated, because we're physically apart, but the work of the church goes on at the local church conference and worldwide church. So there's 4 ways that we've talked about that you can return your tithes and offerings. So number 1 is based on when we have a chance to assemble again. So that might be hopefully in a couple of weeks, so you can bring your to church what you've been setting aside for the last number of weeks. Number 2, people are using this option to say, I want to mail in my tithe and offering envelopes in a secure envelope, and the conference will then just keep those secure until our treasury team member comes to pick them up. And that's about 2 times a month. So if you've written a check and you've mailed in your information and you're looking at your bank statement wondering, well, I wonder if that cleared or not, it may take a couple of weeks based on this process, but it's a very secure process. Just make sure that you make out your checks to Lent Seventh-day Adventist Church and indicate on your tithe and offering envelopes how you want your giving, your donation to be distributed. Because people who do not belong to a local church, some use the Oregon Conference as their church. So there should be no problem with that, because none of these secure envelopes are open. They're just collected until Charles or somebody on the treasury team picks them up. Now, if you have cash and you don't want to send cash in the mail, which I highly recommend that you do not do, then you can drop off your tithes and offerings to Vern at the church, because we'll be there, like I said, next Thursday during PAX outreach. So that's a once a month opportunity to swing by, and then Carol and Vern will make sure that they get connected through the treasury group. So that's that piece. And then we've talked about registering for online giving. We've sent out some emails that have links and video and instructions on how to register and use online giving. I've been involved with it over a month now, and it was easy to register, and then it's easy to use. And so it makes it very convenient when we don't have a chance to bring our tithes and offerings to the church, that we can stay connected that way. So that's that piece of it. The weekly schedule, we're considering, as noted on the screen, a hybrid plan soon. And you say, Pastor, hybrid, like some gas and some electric. Well, almost. It would be some Zoom meetings and then partnered with the in-person meetings and worship. Since we're restricted to 25 or less people, we want to also hopefully connect through Facebook Live or YouTube Live for those at home that are not part of the 25 that or less that are meeting at the church, but they can stay connected and be a part of it. So I really appreciate the technical help that we're getting, and Jerson's been leading the way on that. And so we're trying to think of ways to keep moving forward. Then for this coming week, we'll do it as we've done it the last few weeks. We have the Wednesday night devotional. Carol has been sharing stories, sharing about the story of Elijah and Elisha and how they trusted in the Lord. And then we have a prayer time that usually ends about 8:15, 8:30 Friday night, blessed with AY leading out in a New Beginnings lesson. And each lesson has a great truths and great encouragement for us as we travel along with Jesus. And there's a prayer circle there. So Sabbath is what we're involved with now, and the AY program at 2 and afternoon Bible study at 5. So be looking for some more information about how this will again be kind of a combination of things. We're working through that. Don't forget that check the church website, www.lents, L-E-N-T-S, and then another S, SDA.org. You'll see a picture of it on the screen in the section right here, the live programs for this week. You can click on that and see what you missed, and also they're archived as well. So opportunities to stay connected that way. And we want to stay connected with the Lord. So I'll see if I can let me bring up